Yo, happy Thursday night, man. Wow. Yeah, I'm back in. It's Thursday night, it's 8 o'clock. It's me, Mike Laro, aka Big Mike, and you are a part of the 444 locker room. We're talking everything. Everything. Philadelphia sports tonight. Guys, I got a special treat for you. I got the old school bird on tonight. Yeah, that's right. We're gonna do a little throwback. We're gonna get in our little time machine. We're gonna go back early 90s. We're gonna talk about those Eagles teams of the early 90s. With football coming around. Eileen, happy Thursday to you. Guys, we're gonna get it. I'm gonna dive into the Sixers and their situation. Foods, what's going on? Uh, and their head coaching search. What do you do with James Harden? And there's my boy TJ. What's going on? Happy Friday Eve. Again, guys, before you bite into that burger, before you suck down that hot dog and that alcoholic beverage this weekend, do yourself a favor. Stop for a second. Say a little prayer for those guys who ain't coming home this weekend. Our beautiful brothers and sisters who are in our military services. Make sure you stop and just keep them in your thoughts and prayers. Not every one of them can make it home. Some of them paid the ultimate sacrifice. Will never have a burger or a hot dog again. So before you bite into one, make sure you stop and at least pray and give a little bit of thanks. So I always do that. So I always make sure I let you guys know to do that as well. We are going to. Oh yeah, and thank you, servicemen too. Yeah, if you see them, buy them a coffee, buy them a shot, do whatever, man. If they serve their country, buy them one. This is their weekend, guys. We're gonna dive right in. The Phillies. Man, you want to talk about a roller coaster of the last 2 weeks. Oh, what is this team? My God. Aaron Nola's finally getting on. He's finally starting to come around a little bit. Now Zach Wheeler's off in somewhere land. Okay. Ranger Suarez, I'm not going to really knock on him too much. He joined the team late. Current score rate, excuse me, guys. Current score right now, it looks like they are in the third inning, and it is a 3-3 game. Okay, so top of the third right now, 3-3. Them and the series coming up for the Phillies against those Bravos, a rematch of last year's divisional series. The Braves are feeling about it right now. So that's what you're saying. Salute to the service. Thank them. Always, man, always. We wouldn't have the right to do what we do without them guys, and it's something I'm very strongly about. I never served, but I have family members who served, friends who served, and for that, I say thank you, guys. But getting into this Phillies team, isn't it nice to finally see Trey Turner not make a last out? The guy was 0 for 9 so far in this young season at making the last out. In other words, he came to the plate 9 times with the game on the line and failed 9 times. On the 10th time, he tied the game. And ultimately, the Phillies end up winning. So, I mean, God, this team right now, I don't know what is going on, but it's just something that, to me, I'm watching this team. This team is like a yo-yo. You know what I mean? It's up and down, up and down, up and down, with a little bit of side to side and in and out. I mean, it's crazy. It really is crazy to sit there and watch this team play ball. And, if it wasn't for the Mets being the Mets, Trey Toffel was an awful signing. I'm not saying that too yet, man. But I wouldn't say it's too early to tell that it was an awful signing, but oh, okay. All right, thanks, Paul. But to me, it's hey, look. I mean, a lot of people wanted them to come in and do. They thought they were going to get the Trey Turner that they saw in the baseball classic. I kind of looked at that and was like, oh God, I thought he kind of was getting himself out there. Trey Turner's a good player, and I think he was worth $300 million. He was going to get that anywhere he went. It just so happens that the Phillies were the one that kicked out that money. You know what I mean? It was kind of like Castellanos last year. Like a lot of people got made at the Phillies because they paid him $100 million. Well, he would have got that in the open market anyway. No matter where he would have went, he would have got that money. So, I mean, I'm not mad at Turner, but I mean, I'd like to see a little more production from him. I'd love to see the Phillies let this guy start running. Like, his biggest thing is getting on base and stealing bases and creating chaos. And right now, the Phillies are getting guys on base. They're just not hitting them in. So it's crazy. But thinking about this going forward, man, with this here, I got to take my hat off to Alec Bohm. Alec Bohm has been hitting. Bryson Stott has been just on fire to start this season. Bryson Stott's been, he's had about maybe a week where he was kind of like up and down a little bit. But other than that, he's been really consistent. Castellanos at the plate's been consistent. He's batting the high 290s now, or maybe might be low 290s after this past week because he didn't have a good week against the Diamondbacks and the Rockies. But, he's around 290. His power numbers ain't there, but he's doubling the hell out of the ball. So, you have these guys that are hitting. Harper's, you got to buy Harper sometime. I think he rushed back from that injury. We're looking for him to get right till the second half of the year. I think once the second half hits, look out. I think he's going to go on a tear. JT Realmuto, I think he needs to pick up the pace. I really do, as far as batting wise. His bat has been just non-existent, really, in this lineup, and it's kind of hurting him. Captain Caveman, Brandon Marsh, he's kind of slowed down a little bit. So you're starting to see now, like, some of these batters are starting to slow down a little bit. Other ones are still kind of keeping pace or whatever with this lineup. It's been too inconsistent. Schwarber, it is what it is with that dude. He's a homer or a strikeout. So that's basically, you signed him for his power. You signed him to hit 40-some bombs a year. And in this ballpark, he should hit 40-some-odd bombs. I love the fact that they dropped him down in the lineup because now he can drive in more runs instead of leading off. So, but my main issue right now with this Phillies team right now is their starting pitching. Their starting pitching is god-awful. Other than Nola's been going out giving you decent starts over his last 5 starts. Zach Wheeler, I don't know where the hell he is, man. He just does not look like the Zach Wheeler of a year ago who was the runner-up for the Cy Young 2 years ago. He doesn't look the same. I'm giving Ranger a chance. And Taijuan Walker, Jesus God, dude, just flip a coin on that dude. One day he's cool, the next day he won't. So, Fuge says, wait till it gets hot. The ball will be flying out of Citizens Bank Park. Fuge, that's 100% true. I just hope that it ain't the opposite team hitting them out. By the way, pause for a second. Itchy throat. Monkey Coat Coffee, guys. This is the cold brew. The coconut rum. I strongly suggest you get it. It is awesome, as you see it right here. And, of course, 10% of each purchase goes to the Pediatric Cancer Foundation. So make sure you definitely go out there and just buy something from them, man. Whatever you buy from them, they're definitely going to go, and it helps out children's cancer. Like I said, I have the coconut rum flavored iced coffee right here. I bought the pitcher with it. Try their snacks. From what I heard, they're really good. Paul told me I'm actually on a diet, so I'm not actually doing it. But, hey, I'm trying to go from Big Mike to Medium Mike. So with that, you got to cut out some things. But, hey, the cold brew is definitely something. It comes in its own little container. You can make it. It's awesome. And, yeah, so I'm going to take a pause. Alrighty, guys, the whistle is now wet. We can continue on. So, like I said, looking at this stretch coming up right now for the Phillies, they got a pretty strong stretch coming up. They got 3 divisional opponents on the road. They start with the Braves tonight. They play them throughout the weekend series. Then it's right up to Flushing to New York, where we get our first taste of the Mets. And, the Mets kind of owned the Phillies a year ago. I'm not going to lie. They kind of owned us. And, the Mets are having their struggles as well with pitching. So, but both of those lineups can hit. And the one thing I can probably give the edge on these two teams, looking at the Phillies going when they go play the Mets, Phillies got a better bullpen. I think the bullpen for the Phillies is just a little bit better than the Mets. The Mets are obviously missing their stud closer and Diaz. Thank God, no trumpet. Ain't got to hear it. Thank God. We can wait till next year to play that. But yeah, we ain't got to hear that. And this weekend they got the Braves, and again, now the Phillies and Braves kind of split a year ago. I think the Braves won one more game than the Phillies. I think it was like 9-8 or whatever it was, or 10-9 or something like that. They were one game better than the Phillies a year ago. So they kind of played the Braves well. but Acuna's been killing the ball down there. His resurgence this year at the plate has just been crazy. But Atlanta's been struggling too. Out of their last 10 games, there's something like 4-6 or 3-7, something around that area. They struggled with the Dodgers just this past week. The Dodgers actually went in there and beat them a few games. So, with that being said, man, listen, we're going to sit here and, I'm keeping an eye on the score. So, right now, like I said, it's still 3-3. But, hey, look, listen. If the ball don't start flying out of Citizens Bank Park until it gets hot, we just got to make sure that these Phillies pitchers come around. I think Suarez will come around. Again, Christian Painter, the young rookie, supposed to start soft tossing about sometime this week. So maybe you might look for him to get at it in the second half of the year to come up and maybe give a spark. I'm not looking at this kid as the savior, but I did see a couple games he pitched a year ago when he was at Reading, and the kid was nasty. So, Mick Abel's been doing pretty good, and I think the Phillies got a bright future. I think they're going to be in the mix of things going forward, but I do think it's still a 3-team horse in that NL East with Atlanta. I picked the Braves to win the division. I still think the Braves are the best team in the division. The Mets are going to be there. As much as I love the shit can on the Mets and bag on the Mets, they're going to be there. They're a good team. It's just a rivalry thing. It's a New York thing. Philly, New York. We don't like New York. New York don't like us. So, my son chiming in, not with this pitching. Yeah, the pitching's got to get better, kid. Make sure you check my kid out and Danny and Stacy tomorrow night right here on Out of the Box. Big Blue Power Hour, or as I call it, Big Blue Ball Power Hour. Because if you're anything other than a Giants fan, it's just like watching paint dry. But no, I'm just kidding. Guys, make sure you tune into them, guys. Give them all a ration of hell, whether you like the Giants or not. Guys, real quick, I just want to, Paul, if you could throw up that the new lineup here. So I want to make these announcements. Guys, coming right now, as this is starting in August, right here on Out of the Box Network. On Mondays, 4:30 p.m., you have the Joystick Junkies. 6 o'clock on Mondays, the Sully Squad. And then 8 o'clock, the Big Blue Power Hour. So the Big Blue Power Hour will be moving to Mondays. This is August. Then I was told Tuesdays, 8:30, extra innings with Joey Sullivan and Dave Yarnell. Wednesdays, 10 a.m., the Bat Cave with Ken Fry. He'll be talking all those New York Mets baseball. 8 p.m. will be College Football Frenzy. And following College Football Frenzy, moving to Wednesday nights, them 215 boys with Paul Spencer, Matt Klein, and Dave Yarnell. Dave will be on there. Yours truly still staying right here on Thursday nights, 4 for 4 Locker Room Podcast. And starting June 16th, the Atomic Drop with our host, Madman Ken Fry, and the lover boy, Dave Yarnell. They will be talking all things. And, of course, guys, don't forget, Saturdays, 10 p.m., the Vegas Sports Scene. We do have more shows coming soon. We have a UFC pay-per-view pre-show coming. Commanders Gridiron, a new Washington Commanders show, will be debuting on Out of the Box Network. You have the NFC East Roundtable. We have our own little movie pod coming called Lights, Camera, Action. Guys, post game for the Eagles, the Giants, and the Cowboys this season on Out of the Box. That's right. You heard it first. Even the Commanders, they'll probably get a time slot too to do their post game. I think it's going to be really interesting to see, especially with everybody playing each other. I can't wait for that. And of course, coming on Saturdays this fall, the Irish football pre and post game. That's right. If you're a fan of Notre Dame, make sure you get your butt over here to Out of the Box. I'm pretty sure you'll have Joey Sullivan and Paul. I will not be a part of that because I'm a Penn State guy and I don't watch the Golden Domers. So I will be watching my Nittany Lions this year. Hopefully, get off the schneid and knock out those Ohio State Buckeyes this year. All right, guys. Now we're going to move on to a team that is this team needs an enema. This next team needs an enema bad, and I'm talking about our Philadelphia 76ers. My God. What is up with this team? I am so confused right now as a Sixers fan. As a guy who watches this team, I'm confused. And at best, I'm fair weather. And I'm not going to lie. I do watch the Sixers because I talk about them. I do a 4for4 locker room podcast. So I do watch them. Okay. This team, to me, is mind boggling. Other than Maxey on this team, like, really, who else are you guys really trying to hold on to? I'm sorry. I said it back in February that the Sixers should trade Joel Embiid. I said it back in February that they should trade this guy. He's the MVP of the league. I don't care. Recoup your losses. Get him out of here. Do something else, man. Because it's obvious he doesn't have it in here when it comes playoff time. The dude is soft. I'm sorry. He is soft. Like, you want to see what a dominant center's doing? Look at Jokic in these finals and in these playoffs. That dude is beasting. Beasting. You want to see what a guy who's got heart does? And, there's only one thing that I think could come out of this is that maybe Joel hears the noise that people are saying that he's soft, and maybe he takes it too hard. I'm hoping. I'd like to see him do it one more year. After next year, dude, listen, if you get another second round exit, no. Yeah. Mike Sherman says, agree. Anytime he shoots a three, he should be properly benched. I think you're right. He's a center. The hell are you You are one of the most dominant big men in this game. Paul Spencer checking in says, it's insane. Joker has 5 triple-doubles in this playoff so far. The MVP. I will say this. During the regular season, Joel Embiid was better than Jokic. In this playoff series, Jokic has shown 76ers need Dennis Autry back. TJ, that was probably before my time, dude. Dennis Autry. Holy cow, dude. Like, where the hell did you bring up that name? Like, you should. I could have seen if you would have said Bobby Jones, but damn. He went way back there. Was that team still, was the Sixers still in Syracuse then? But I'm serious. I mean, I'm sorry. You got, and the one guy who everybody loves to knock in this city about what his contract is Tobias Harris. Guess what? That dude's the only guy who showed up in these playoffs. He's the only dude that showed up. He had one bad game. One bad game out of 11 games. And people want to rip him for it. Bobby Jones was actually a good ball player. He was. How does Philly replace Harden? I don't know, Leland. All I know is the Sixers are against the cap. They were talking about if Harden does leave, they're looking at around $12 to $15 million in cap space. They would be able to sign somebody, but not somebody around the caliber of Harden. So the Sixers are kind of backed into a corner. They are. Miko says, TJ, are we talking about an ABA with that name? Oh, man, that's great. ABA. Almost Basketball Association. But, to me, it's just, here's the question. If you are a Sixers fan, do you put it out there to say, or do you listen to calls about Joel Embiid? Or do you try to run it back with him and Harden one more time? That's the only, the Sixers are really, really stuck. The only thing I can really see the Sixers doing this year, honestly, is if they let Harden walk, they got to take a mulligan this year. Go out, play that season next year. You know you're not going to win the championship. You might be the worst that can happen is you get eliminated in the second round again. You might have to take a step back to leap forward. Because at the end of the year of next season, you got Tobias's money coming off the books. You have Harden's money coming off the books. The Sixers will be in great shape. They will have a lot of money to go out and spend. They just don't have the assets right now. They don't have nothing to trade. Like, Dame Lillard is basically begging for the Sixers to come get him out of Portland. They have nothing to offer Portland to get him other than Tyrese Maxey. They would have to trade Tobias Harris and Maxey to Portland for Dame Lillard. And I'm sorry, I'm not ready to give up on Maxey yet. I'm not saying he's not, I'm not saying he won't be as good as Dame is, or but to me, I just feel like it's a little bit too much to give up for Dame at this point in Dame's career. You think you're stuck. Embiid is the center piece. Harden showed he's overvalued, and Tobias's contract is untouchable this year. Next year, different story. Actually, no, Paul. This upcoming season, Tobias Harris can be moved. He's on the last year of that deal, so he can definitely be moved. To be honest with you, I thought really going into this playoff series with Butler and that team being eighth, I had no idea that they were going to be on this run that they've been on. Which, by the way, kudos to the Florida Panthers. Just a real quick hockey thing. Kudos to them guys, winning the Eastern Conference. And they're waiting the winner of Vegas and Dallas, man. And, wow, they knocked out my favorite, man. I had Carolina going to the Cup. I had Carolina and Dallas. So hopefully Dallas can uphold their end of the bargain and get to the Cup Finals because I have Dallas winning it all. So, but it's going to be very hard. That Florida Panther team is very, very hot right now. Look at the teams they've taken out. They've taken out the best team in the league, which was Boston, followed by Toronto, and now they just took out the second seeded team, the Carolina Hurricanes. So that Florida team's on a roll. But getting back to the Sixer team, like I said, I was hoping maybe if the Heat didn't have such a good run. Leland says Dame is disciplined. Embiid and Dame equal Shaq and Kobe. No, I love Dame. I do. I don't feel like you give up a guy like Maxey for him, and that's the only piece right now the Sixers have to give up for Dame Lillard is a Maxey. Maxey would have to be a part of that deal. I'm not giving Maxey up for Dame. Like I said, if this would have been a couple of years ago, maybe. But I just feel like Dame's kind of, he's getting on that backside too with his career. I would love to have Dame Lillard here. Sixers fans last season were cheering his name when he got here because they wanted the Sixers to try to make a move for him. So before he signed his deal with Portland. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how this would work out, but I do know Tobias's contract is expiring. A couple other guys are expiring. PJ Tucker will be back with the Sixers. He signed a 2-year deal. So my whole thing now is, imagine a coach like Spoelstra here. He gets in players' asses. He almost spoke Butler earlier this year. Yeah, you're right. I like Spoelstra. I think he's a really good coach, but you also got to look at that system in place that's down there too. Dude, Pat Riley's been down there since 95. Like, they have a culture down there. There's no culture here. There really isn't. This team sucked for 5 years. I remember when you can get Sixers tickets for $9. $9. When guys like Dario Saric was, one of the big guys on the team. And Robert Covington. I mean, to me, guys, like I said, I'm looking at this Sixer team and I'm really just getting frustrated because I don't think they're going to make the moves that's necessary that needs to be made to keep this team a contender. Now, I kind of heard an argument today on the radio between John Marks and Ike Reese. And honestly, I had to agree with Johnny Marks. Johnny Marks said, yo, look, you let Harden walk. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to sit there and just bring him back and pay him a bunch of money on a guy who's declining. He wants to go back to Houston so bad, let him go. Unless it's a sign and trade. The name that kept being brought up was Chris Paul. Doing a sign and trade. You sign Harden, you trade him to LA, you trade Chris Paul to the Sixers. Problem is, Chris Paul is like Embiid. He's always hurt. If you're going to trade, man, for a guard like that, or especially a shooting guard, you got to go Dame Lillard, man. You do. You just have to go that route. And to me, I feel like right now, oh, look who's checking in, Cowboy Dave. Or as I call him, what did I call him earlier? The Showstopper. There you go. The Showstopper. One of our new co-hosts to the Atomic Drop. He's just a sexy guy. Nation of Sports. Who is the next coach? I'm hearing Frank Vogels, and Rivers is rumored to the Suns. I would not be surprised if Rivers did go to the Suns because he's the type of guy who's got to coach veterans, and I think he could coach those guys. Leland says Chris Paul needs to retire. I agree 120%. I don't want him nowhere near the Sixers. Paul, what was that? Age of Sports or Nation of Sports? Can you bring this back up? Nation of Sports. You're hearing Frank Vogel. That's kind of funny. You're hearing his name. I'm hearing Nick Nurse here. Nick Nurse has been highly publicized. Also, Monty Williams, too. Don't count out Monty Williams. Monty Williams has a connection with that. Our boy, the John checking in, Joey Sullivan. Make sure you check him out Monday, Tuesday, when College Football Frenzy starts back up. That'll be Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Dude, Joe's going to be on here all the time. Between him and Spencer, I don't know which one's going to be on here the most. But make sure you check him out. Doing all his things over here with the Sully squad and extra innings. He said the Suns ain't going to make it out of the second round. Oh, man. Hey, look, at least Doc's got a chip, man. People in Boston love him. Like, look, if Boston would have won this year, like, Doc would have helped them win 2 titles with the way he coached in those last 2 games. But Durant doesn't have that killer instinct when he goes local. Yeah, you're right. I think Durant's got to have he's a Robin. And, and I kind of feel that way about Embiid. I think Embiid's a Robin, too. He's not a Batman. We need a Batman here. We had one. We had one in Jimmy Butler, and they decided to let him go. So I'm hoping somewhere down the line the Sixers can try to reunite that with him. I think if they take that step back this year, maybe they get the 7th or 8th seed or whatever, and they get bounced, whatever. Let that go. Let these money clear. Let all this money clear off these books again next year. Salary cap rises next year. So let all this money go. Sixers can go out and actually go after some free agents. I would love for them to bring Jimmy Butler back. I think if they were to bring Jimmy Butler back with Tyrese Maxey, with Joel Embiid, my God, would this team be – it would be really good. Especially now, too, with some of these bench players that they've had, guys like, Melton and House and PJ Tucker. I would maybe sign him for another year just to kind of – I would use PJ Tucker coming off the bench, though. You got to get someone big. I think the 2 free agents that they need to look at really within the next 2 years is Siakam from Toronto and Jimmy Butler. I think they can land either one of those 2. I really do, especially if they get Nick Nurse. If they get Nick Nurse here, you can definitely see Siakam coming here because he played for him up in Toronto. So, and I think you get either one of those guys really kind of, you put Siakam on the floor next to Embiid. Jesus God. I said, would you take a flyer on Julius Randle? They want him out of New York. Oh, hell yeah, in a minute. Julius Randle? Yeah. You know what else, too? You know what rumors I'm also hearing? The Sixers should go after the Heat's assistant for a coach. If you really think so, Sully, to me, I'm Nurse. I think Nick would be a great fit for the Sixers. But you know who I've been hearing too? What's the guy down in Dallas? I was about to say, is it Luka Doncic? I'm hearing he might be ready to bounce out of there too. So he might be getting ready to bounce out of there too, because I don't think he wants to be around for the tanking that they want to do now down there. I don't want Kyrie Irving. Keep his ass far away from the Sixers as possible. That dude is just a wackadoo. So. All right, guys. So now, before we go any further, I'm going to pay some bills, and I'll be right back. So let's kick that over there. Not Your Average James. This is our boy Ken Fry. His daughter plays on this team. They are based out of Cressida, Pennsylvania. They're looking for sponsors, man. Anything you can do to donate, they are looking for, any type of donations in advance to help with the girls, travel expenses, uniforms, equipment, stuff like that, guys. If you have anything extra, make sure you go to Out of the Box. They have the donation there. And like I said, it's for a good cause. It's for Kenny Fry, his daughter's team. They're called Not Your Average Janes. So make sure you definitely, if you have something extra, get on over there and they will do that. Guys, if you are in need of what's the word I'm looking for? If you're in need of legal representation, make sure you reach out to our boy Jason Fine, aka Big L, for slip and falls, MVAs, workman's compensation, personal injury claims. Make sure you check him out. He is in Philadelphia. He has 3 locations to serve you. Philadelphia at 1628 JFK Boulevard, Philadelphia. You also have Cherry Hill, New Jersey as well. And you also now opening up a new office in Pittsburgh, 500 Grant Suite 2900 in Pittsburgh. Guys, the numbers are right there. If you do, tell him Big Mike sent you. He will take care of you like family. And instead of paying 40 to 42% of your fees or whatever, he will give you the family discount at 33 1/3. Again, make sure you tell him Big Mike at Out of the Box sent you. He will definitely take care of you. And guys, I've already did it, but this is my cold brew right here, Monkey Cold Coffee. Guys, again, make sure you definitely check these guys out. 10% of the of your purchase goes to the National Pediatric Cancer Foundation. Guys, at checkout, make sure you type in OOTB Sports at checkout. You will save 10% off. And like I said, it goes there. I have the toasted coconut rum. Flavored coffee is awesome. My next batch will be the chocolate bourbon. I want to try that so bad. I've been hearing nothing but good things about it. Myself, Kenny Fry, Paul Spencer, we've been going crazy with this. Paul ordered like a bunch of stuff from these guys. So Paul, when I saw what Paul had, I had to go and get some. Ken also did the same thing. We love the product. So guys, make sure you definitely go out there and order something. Again, you save 10%, and 10% of the proceeds that you do spend go to pediatric cancer. It's a great cause. Again, join the cult. So now we're going to get into the birds. And I'll tell you what, I did something a little special for tonight, for us Eagle fans. I want to get back in the time machine a little bit. I'm going to go back to Buddy Ball, the end of Buddy Ball. Between 1990 and 1994. We can do 90 and 91 tonight. We can relay and do 90, 92, 93, and 94 next week if that's what you want to do. But I'm going to go back into the tail end of Buddy Ball and into Sir Richie Kotite, which is TJ's favorite Eagles coach of all time. Of course, when TJ hears that, he'll probably throw something at my head. But getting back to this, man, what was your biggest takeaways from those teams? I'm talking to Eagle fans now. If you watched that team back in the day from afar, let me know what you guys thought of Birds back in the day. Me personally, my honest thoughts were, God forbid if they ever got a running game and an offensive line, if they had either one of those two, those Eagles teams would have been deadly. If they would have given Randall Cunningham time to throw the ball, Jesus God. Paul Spencer said, nasty defense scared the hell out of me. They scared the hell out of everybody. I remember being at a game. He said, I'm out, bitch. Oh, man. TJ, he doesn't want to talk about it. He doesn't want to talk about his favorite coach. But now we're getting at the tail end of Buddy Ball here. It always killed me with Buddy Ryan. He was really good with the defense. He just didn't give two craps about the offense. And if you go back and look at some of those teams, oh my God, we had some offensive talent. They had talented people at talented positions. Tight end, you had Keith Jackson, who was an all-pro. You had Fred Barnett and Calvin Williams, who was probably one of the better duos in the league at the time. Okay? You had Keith Byers at running back or at fullback for a long time, catching passes and running the ball out of the backfield. They just never had a line for Cunningham. And it always bothered me that if they would have just taken a couple of picks and just went after him, God. Fuji saying Randall without an O-line and running game. Yeah, I mean, if you take a look at it, they tried to run the ball with Byers for like 3 years and then realized he wasn't it. Buddy wasted our greatest QB. Randall was amazing. Buddy told him to go out and run 3 plays and punt. Our defense will win it. And you know what? And that's what I'm saying. The only thing I kind of liked, like when they moved on from Buddy, was they were smart enough to go with an offensive coach. Granted, Kotite was not that. I think Kotite sold them a bill of goods. But if you go back in this time machine, like you kind of just wish that Jeffrey Lurie kind of purchased the team 4 years earlier. Can you imagine if Jeffrey Lurie would have been there? My God. Fuji was Herschel Walker. Yeah, but we got Herschel 5 years too late, though, Mike. We really did. Herschel was kind of banged up and washed up, dude, by the time we got him. But he still had a pretty good year. He still had a couple good years for the Birds. I do remember that. They should drag Coattail down Broad Street behind a bus. Bud Carson. There's a guy who I wanted to bring up. I don't feel like he gets a lot of love from Eagle fans as we kind of look back on things. Bud Carson was an excellent defensive coordinator. Bud Carson kind of took Buddy's defense, our defensive players, and was able to incorporate his defense, which was a little bit better than Buddy's. If you look at it, like if you look at total points wise, Buddy played to 46, and that was it. You know, we're going to come at you, and we're going to bring more than you can block. If you can get the ball off, good luck. That's the 46 defense in a nutshell. You know, Bud Carson was able to move guys around. And, you know, if you look back at this, if you look back at these guys, man, Paul says, did I mention I love Herschel Walker? Biggest lopsided trade in history. Thank you. Yeah. You guys still got Vaseline on yourselves from that trade. Holy cow. 1991. The Eagles led the. Yeah, they did. They did. Again, Mike brings up a great point. We're talking about between 90 and 91. Randall Cunningham has an offensive line. Bryce Pop don't come in and smack him on the knee and knock him out for the season. That was the biggest one. Buddy was great in the post-game interviews, but he wasn't a really good head coach. No, he wasn't. Buddy Ryan was a good defensive coordinator. And Buddy Ryan could talk shit and, have his defense go out and back it up for the most part. I remember being 13 years old, being at a game where they were smacking the hell out of the 49ers, literally all game long. All game long. Just beating Joe Montana. Like, Joe Montana got beat so bad that day, it wasn't even funny. They sacked him like 9 times. I watched Joe Montana come back in the fourth quarter and score not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 touchdowns. And they end up beating the Eagles by 10 points. Like, you want to talk about having, and they were defending champions at that time. I'll never forget being at that game going, what happened? Because Buddy would still keep dialing up that blitz, and you had guys like Toast Jenkins out there on corners, opposite of Eric Allen. It was just a sight to see. Like, the Eagles really did have a good team. And like I said, if you go back and look at it, like, you got to look at where the Eagles came from. They were riding high coming off the Vermeil years. And then they had Marion Campbell, who was Vermeil's defensive coordinator. Vermeil gets burned out, can't do it no more, leaves. So, he said, hey, Mike, wasn't Bud Carson with Cleveland at one point in time? Yeah, I think he was a head coach there, Dave. I believe he was. I think he was only there for like 1 year. He did like a Belichick thing. Was like 1 year and going. 89 49ers won that game. Yes, they did, Mike. I was at that game. I'll never forget it. FYI, out of the box, checking in. Phillies and Braves tied at 4, bottom of the 5th. All right, we got some runs being scored down there in Hotlanta. Must be hot down there. The Swamp Fox suckered. Yeah. But I mean, if you take a look, there was just a lot of bad omens, man, with those early 90 Eagles teams. One, we had a cheap owner, and he ran the Eagles like he ran a used car business. If it wasn't broke, if you thought it was starting to break, put duct tape on it instead of going out and replacing the part. And he was cheap. You had guys I mean, the first guy really to take advantage of this whole free agency thing was Keith Jackson. Keith Jackson was like, as soon as you knew that the NFL was going to pass this free agency thing, you knew the Eagles were screwed because there were so many guys who wanted to get out of here because they didn't want to play for Bremen. The guy was a piece of crap owner. Buddy Ryan, I thought, as much as people like rag on Buddy about how he coached and whatever, number one, he'll be forever loved in this town because he made it a point to stick it to the Cowboys when he felt like the Cowboys stuck it to him. He did something back to them. He stood up to the bullies because, let's be honest, man, other than 1980, the Cowboys bullied the Eagles for a long time. You go back and look at your history. There's a reason why Dallas is so far ahead, man. The only thing Bremen did was save the Eagles from Phoenix. Nah, I mean, he did, but he didn't. I mean, we all know that story, right? Leonard Toes being drunk, playing cards, and then accidentally selling the team to a Phoenix business guy. But, I mean, it's really funny. And Foods, maybe you can comment on this because, you know, we're right around the same age. You might be a little older than me, but I remember at one point in time in this city, you know, where we sing the Eagles fight song now and we do all this crazy stuff about the birds. I remember back being a kid, I remember people wanting the Philadelphia Stars. That's right, the USFL team. They wanted the USFL team to join the NFL, and they wanted the Eagles to leave. Toes was dead ass broke. He was. He had a gambling problem, man. That dude would go down AC and drop like major amounts of money and get drunk. But I remember there were times, you know, in that time frame that the USFL and the NFL were, when they were doing the head-to-head thing, you know, where they were, you know, competing for players. Dude, there would be like, at the vet, there would be like 40,000 people for a Stars game on like a Thursday night in the middle of the summer. Me and my brother used to go to Stars games all the time, man. When I was a kid, we used to go all the time. And I'll tell you what, man. And Eagles tickets back then, you could get tickets on game day. I know that for a fact because I remember as a kid going down there with my friend, his dad. We went the Eagles were home 4 straight weeks. We went 4 straight weeks and we got the same section all 4 weeks. So it wasn't like the Eagles were selling out because their games weren't even on TV then. Fuji says, will casinos compliment? Oh, casinos comp them all the time. I would imagine he probably dropped that, man. The rumor was that the Stars wanted to play the Birds. I don't know. I never heard that one. I do know that Carl Peterson was trying to petition to get the Stars into the NFL. But if you go back around that time, dude, when Marion Campbell was on, Eagles were never on TV. The Eagles didn't start getting on TV until Buddy Ryan got here. And the Eagles start playing a little bit better. And then all of a sudden, the local CBS affiliate would buy up whatever tickets weren't sold. But God, for about at least a good 6-7 year period, you would get games in New York before you would get or if the Eagles were on the road, then you would see them play. But if they were home, God, I remember listening to an Eagles game on the radio when they were playing Atlanta. And it's the infamous game where Jaworski hits quick on a 99-yard touchdown. I remember being a kid listening to that game because the game wasn't on TV because it didn't sell out. Hey, there you go. Food said he bought season tickets in '85 for $80. Think about that, guys. $80. You can't go to one game now for $80. Our man Fuji bought a whole season's worth. Holy cow, man. But yeah, let's get back to this, man. Getting back to this 90 and 91 teams, man. I'll tell you what. I remember going to Washington, the old RFK. I was at the game, Joel's the quick to win the game. Oh, so you were there for that then. Foods, that was awesome. That was the game I was telling you about. It was blacked out here in the city. You couldn't see it. And I just remember they had I might have been Sanford. I think the 4 o'clock game that was on here was just because the Eagles didn't sell out and their game was blacked out. You got the 4 o'clock game, and I remember watching. It was like the 49ers. I'll just say 49ers and Bears. just to be on the safe side. But I knew it was the 49ers because they were playing the Candlestick. And I remember they literally went to a break, and it was like, oh, by the way, in overtime here in Philly, and you saw the play, and you saw Quick run the 99 yards for the touchdown. And I was like, oh, cool, they won. It's great. But the game was never on TV. Like, look how far we actually have come now to where Eagles games every week are on TV. The place is sold out. I really do. Looking at this now, looking at where we've came from, $80. Matches checking in. What's going on, Matches? $80. That's unbelievable. You can't get a beer, cheesesteak, crab fries, and a hat for $80. Nah, dude, you can't. Oh, man. Celtics up 23-10. 4 minutes left in the first period. Oh, wow. Woo. 23-10. Damn. Looks like the Heater just letting them come back in that one. Jesus, God. But, yeah, guys, I mean, sitting back here talking about these older games, man, if you guys want to throw in some comments and questions maybe about the current Eagles, we've all seen the schedule. Is there a certain game you guys are looking forward to? I know Paul's looking forward to the Dallas game, as am I, both of them. I look at those every year. Me and the kid are looking forward to Christmas this year, which is really kind of funny because every year for Eagles Giants, I call my kid on the phone and I just look at him and go, "You're a scumbag, hate week started," and I hang up on him. But actually, I think I can't do that this year because we're playing on Christmas. So I could just tell him he's still a scumbag, but I wish him a Merry Christmas afterwards. So I'm interested to see what type of bet my son and Paul have for this year for the Giants Cowboys. I think that should be pretty damn good. Fuji checking and saying Dallas sucks. LOL, Paul. But Eagles lost to Oakland in 80 because Quick wasn't targeted enough. Oh, and the turnovers. Yeah, Leland. Big story about that 80s team. And Vermeil always talked about it. He said the one thing he regrets was not being more looser on his guys. He was uptight. He was a disciplinarian, and they were uptight all week. And, he said going into that Super Bowl, he said the Raiders were loose as goose, man, and they played like it. Dave Arnold says, I remember when the Birds brought Jim McMahon to back up Randall. Yeah, I remember when they had McMahon too. I might have been 89, I believe. I remember going to a game in San Diego to see that. Or I remember watching a game versus San Diego where he started. And I remember he just came in throwing the ball. He looked like he had a lame duck arm. I remember saying something to my brother like, dude, this guy's washed. And, yeah, I remember so many guys that the Eagles went. I remember Bubby Brister. You guys remember Bubby? That was another one of Buddy Ryan's great signings. He brought in Bubby Brister, who sucked with the Steelers, and then he came here, and everybody was all hype about it. I was like, I just remember being a teenager going, I can't get hype over a guy named Bubby. I'm sorry. But I remember he was here. God, I remember some of the dumb signings, too, that they did back then, too. Anybody remember Mark Bavaro as an Eagle? That was horrible. That dude stole money for, what was it, I think a year or two he played. Jesus, God. Every time that guy ran down the seam at the vet, man, you didn't know if it was the seam ripping or his knees. Jesus, God. That guy was so bad. I remember they brought him in when the Giants finally cut him. The Giants cut him, and I was like, oh, great. We get Mark Bavaro. Yay. Oh, man. Serious question for all of you. Do you want the NFL to outlaw the scrum play, or do they wait until someone gets a broken neck? Bleeds. I don't think they're going to outlaw it. I really don't. But you will start seeing people. You will start seeing people get hurt from it, though, because sooner or later people are going to start. They're going to start jumping over piles and all that other stuff. Food, you sure that was 93 and 94? I kind of had a feeling it was a little earlier than that because Buddy got released in 90. And I remember Buddy was the one who signed him. He came after McMahon. So I could have sworn he might have been there a little earlier. I don't know. Maybe you might be right. Maybe it might be 92, 93. I do remember him coming here though. That's right, yeah, because you know what? It might have been. I think Fuge is right on that because it wasn't Buddy Ryan. It was Kotite. It was the year after we had that whole carousel with what the hell was his name? Jeff Kent. Remember him? He got killed in a game, stuck his thumb up, and then came back and played 2 weeks later. They talked Pat Ryan from the Jets out of retirement. 5-4 Braves, bottom of the fifth. Okay. See that? This is great. I love my cohorts hearing out of the box, dude. They give me scores. 6 QBs were used in 91. Yeah, I remember being at a game in DC watching Pat Ryan trying to throw a football. It was the most horrible thing ever in life. Just a gentleman's bet this year. I want tattoos, but I always have the image of Evan in a tutu with the Jessica Simpson hat on. What can I say, man? My kid makes a cute chick. Brad Gable. Oh my God, Fuge. I remember people thought he was going to be the savior. Brad Gable. I remember him. Jeff Kent, Jimmy Mack, Pat Ryan, Randall. There was somebody else in there too. Didn't they bring in? They brought. There was another guy who came in for. Was it Kenny O'Brien? I thought they had 2 Jets quarterbacks that year. It would have been Kenny O'Brien. I'm not sure. I can't remember who that 6th quarterback was, but I remember Jeff Kent getting killed. And he was just going off the field. He's got his hand all up, and then he came back running around. Keith Jackson is the tight end that started it all. Now they play like him. Yes. You got that right. Kenny O'Brien. That's it. Kenny O'Brien. Yeah, I thought so. Because I knew we had 2 Jets ex-quarterbacks on there, and I was like, oh, God, no. It might have been Kenny O'Brien. If it wasn't for that long. But I remember watching the other Jet quarterback that we had. Oh, my God, dude, he was horrible. He started that game in D.C., dude. We got rocked 23-0. That was the longest drive home ever. The only cool thing is my mom let me stay home from school the next day because I got in the house at like 2:30 in the morning. She's like, you ain't going to school tomorrow. I was like, yes. So, oh, man. Memories, man. Just memories. Keith Jackson held out in 92 and went to the Dolphins. Yeah. Yeah. As soon as that free agency thing hit, man, he was gone. And I knew the Eagles were losing him, man. He was looking to get paid. And like I said, we had that cheap-ass owner. Only if Jeffrey Lurie could have bought the team 4 years earlier. Just stop and think about that for a second, guys. If Lurie would have had the money to buy that team 4 years earlier, good God. Imagine what he would have done having Reggie White there, Jerome Brown, okay, Seth Joyner, Clyde Simmons. Like, none of them guys end up in Arizona. None of them guys. But I also don't believe... I think, I think Reggie would have left over time. But I think the Sixers, I'm sorry. I think the Eagles would have definitely tried to be more, they would have tried to keep him. I feel like they would have paid, they would have took what it they would have took to keep him here. Because if you stop and think about it, yeah, Reggie did win his Super Bowl, but God, Jackson wanted to be the highest paid tight end receiver in football. He did. I thought at that time he was one of the best. I mean, between him and Jesus God, what's the other guy's name? You had him. Brent Jones was another guy who was really good at that time. You had I was going to say Tony Gonzalez, but I'm not sure if Gonzalez had started yet. Maybe him. I'm trying to think who else was around at that time that was really good. Because I know he said, let's not forget Freddie Barnett. No, never forget Arkansas Fred, man. I said that earlier, man. Lurie didn't want to take the team. Didn't Lurie want? No, that was the man in France. Yeah, Jay Novacek. He was really good. I thought Novacek was so underrated. That dude was a beast. I thought he was so underrated. I still don't think he gets the recognition he deserves. And like I said, I hate the Cowboys, but That dude was a fucking beast. Pardon my French. Oh man, he was a beast. But no, it was Brayman who wanted to move the team to Miami because he was from Miami, and that's where he had his dealerships down there. So he wanted to move the team down there. Plus, they were offering to buy them. Novacek was the man, so underrated. Paul, I agree totally with you on him. I always felt like he was so underrated, man. Mercedes Lewis was a 5-year vet back then. Mercedes Lewis, Jesus. Does he have a job still? Is he still playing? I know he played last year somewhere. Wasn't he? He's in Green Bay last year, right? Jesus God. So, guys, I just got to ask one quick question for you. So do we bring Brian Dawkins out to sing the national anthem, Eagles home opener against the Vikings? I say we do. Or at least you get him to run out the tunnel and let him do his crab walk. Get that place fired up. God, I heard that rendition the other day. Ooh, Lord. All right, guys. Well, listen. I'm going to give you the quick rundown of all the shows getting ready to come up this week. Following me, guys. Again, here we go. Again, Monday's Joystick Junkie will be their new time after, Joystick Junkies after this Monday. They will be moving to 4:30 from 8 o'clock. So that'll be their new time. The Sully Squad, 6 p.m. Make sure you check them out. They always got somebody good popping on there with Fuji and Joey Sullivan and Diego. Make sure you check them guys out. Then coming back 8 o'clock, debuting, not this Monday upcoming. Tomorrow night, they will be on their normal time slot. But this is moving forward. Big Blue Power Hour will now be moving to Mondays, Tuesdays. Joe Sullivan, Dave Yarnell, breaking down all the MLB action. So make sure you check them out with extra innings. Wednesdays, 10 a.m. for all your New York Mets and Major League Baseball coverage with our boy Ken Fry. Make sure you check them out. Check him out in the Batcave. Returning, I think Paul said in a couple weeks, College Football Frenzy with myself, Paul Spencer, Joe Sullivan, and Sean Killer Kilrain will be diving in. Can't wait for that. We're almost there, man. We're only about 8 weeks away before they start hitting the pads. And then 9:30 after College Football Frenzy, you have them 215 boys. That's right. Again, the hardest working man here at Out of the Box, Paul Spencer, will be on with Matt Klein and Dave Yarnell. Make sure you check them out. They'll be covering everything Cowboys. So if you're a Cowboys fan, make sure you get over there. If you're not a Cowboys fan and you're an Eagles fan or a Giants fan or Commanders fan, check it out. They do a really good job covering their team, and they're as real as they can be with that. Thursdays, you already know the deal. You're here with me, so make sure you check in. I'm covering all Philly sports. And, of course, Fridays, coming June 16th, starting at 10:30 p.m., the Atomic Drop. It will have our boy Ken Fry and sexy boy Dave Yarnell. He won't be Cowboy that night. I got to think of some names for them two guys, but Ken looks like a bushwhacker, and Dave looks like he's jumping around in his Shawn Michaels regalia. So I will have names for them by the end of the week. Saturdays, 10 p.m., Vegas sports scene. Of course, again, Ken Fry covers everything Las Vegas with the Raiders, the Golden Knights, and soon to be the Vegas Athletics. Once again, guys, coming in August, you have the UFC pay-per-view pre-show, the Commanders Gridiron, the new Washington Commanders show will be jumping on the network. The NFC East Roundtable. Again, that'll be another show that'll be popping up around August. Lights, Camera, Action. Our new movie pod will be on. Eagles, Giants, Cowboys pre- and post-game show this year coming. Make sure you guys tune in for that. If you're a fan of any of the teams, check it out. Irish football pre and post on Saturdays for college football. And guys, once again, if you feel like you want to do what I'm doing, here's the information right here on the screen. Okay? Paul Spencer, make sure you reach out to him. Okay? If you want to start doing what I'm doing now, you want to talk whatever, wherever you're from, whatever teams you like. Okay? You want to do your own show, reach out to Paul Spencer right there, man. He has the number right there. and there's his email. Make sure you guys reach out to him. Talk turkey, man. Paul's always easy to do business with, man. So, again, if I can sit here and talk to you guys and have you great guys tune in, you can do it. I know several guys like Leland, guys like TJ. I know they can talk sports forever. So it's been real interesting. Actually, I cannot wait because you already know I do it. I did it last year. I'm going to keep it a yearly thing. I will have my boy TJ on. We are going to discuss the Eagles because if there's a bigger Eagle fan than I am, that's my boy TJ, but he's brutally honest, man. Cannot wait. So looking forward to having TJ on. I am working, guys, to get more guests on with me. Right now, I just feel like the way this show is with me right now, I kind of like doing it on my own, but this upcoming season, hopefully I get everything going. Fuji, thank you once again, brother. Guys, make sure you check Fuji out on the Sully Squad. They bring the fire. They bring the heat. So, like I said, for myself, man, Big Mike, and everybody here at Out of the Box Network, man, thank you so much for tuning in. And I'm nothing without you guys. You guys are awesome. Bill Meltzer in a couple weeks. Yeah, that's right. I forgot all about that. Thank you for reminding me. We will have Bill Meltzer on, definitely talking Flyers hockey. So it's a great time to do that. Eileen, thank you so much for tuning in. That is my lovely friend from New York. I love her to death. And just for you, I'd say go Yankees because we've already played them this year. And I really don't hate the Yankees. I hate the Mets. So you guys have a great night. I'll see you guys next Thursday. God bless you guys.